Hey everybody, today I'm going to be sharing some customer stories, and the first story I'd like to share is about a guy who lived in a mansion and had a guest house, and his house was over an hour away from me, and he called me and then he texted me and he was really wanting me to drive out there, so I finally called him back and I was like, this is out of my service area. If you want me to come out, it would be another $200 service charge on top of your bill to cover my expenses to getting out there. It was over a mountain pass. And he's like, yeah, that's great. So I go out there the next week. I fix up 6 specialized full suspension e-bikes. And then he had another road bike that needed to be tuned up as well. And I do all the work. I'm there all day. The road bike needed a new battery in the shifter, and I had gotten, it's like a basic watch battery, and I had run out of those. So I call him, I explain the situation, and I kind of say that I could go pick it up, but it would be extra. And he's like, don't worry about it, thank you. And then he pays his bill, and I think I'm done. When I sent him over the bill, silly me, I was feeling bad, even though this guy was obviously very well off. The bill was over $700 just on the labor. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna charge a $70 service fee to drive out here because it was already in the $700 range, and I thought a $1,000 bill for the work was a little crazy. So I cut down the service fee I was gonna charge him to 70 bucks, 80 bucks. And then that evening I come home, it's like past 8 o'clock, I'm putting my kids to bed, and he calls me, and I check this voicemail, and this guy is like irate, and he's like, on the voicemail, he's like, so I'm just confused on why I got charged a pre-ride adjust on this bike. It's not working. And then he texts me a bunch of nonsense. He's like irate, and I'm like, okay, I put it in the repair stand. I checked over the whole bike. The brake calipers on this high-end road bike were not centered, so it was rubbing on the rotors. I lubed the drivetrain. I checked it over. So I felt like I put in enough time to justify a basic tune-up or a full tune-up, which would have been $95. I only charged him 50 bucks to work on the bike because I was like, well, I didn't get it in quite a top running shape because it needs that battery just put in the shifter. It's like a 1-minute video I texted him the 1-minute video of just putting the battery in the shifter. It wasn't too complicated. And he's like ticked off, acting like I ripped him off. And I didn't say this to him, but I was like, okay, you think I went to your house and I ripped you off when you can see on the bill I only charged $70 service fee. I could have charged a $200 service fee like you agreed to, and then I could have charged another $55 to $95 for this road bike tune-up. And he was just super, super rude. And that's kind of the way it goes, is the richer someone appears to be, the likelihood of them being mean to me goes up exponentially. And it's gotten to the point where don't get me wrong, I rely on rich people to pay my bills. You know, that upper middle class segment is my bread and butter. Like, I need them to survive, and I'm not really complaining about them, but you know, this guy, he was so mean to me. I typed in his phone number on Google. I'm like, who is this guy? And he was a specialty foot surgeon. And I'm like, okay, so this guy calls me and he's complaining about not having a mobile guy come up there, and he'll pay me whatever. And I'm like, okay, the nearest bike shop to him is like 40 minutes away. So that's over an hour to go drop off his bikes. It's over an hour to go pick up his bikes. And then he's got to manage these phone calls and all this stuff in between then for whatever bike needs. And I'm like, how much is a specialty surgeon making per hour? It's got to be in the $500 range. And I'm like, I would have kept going out there if he paid the service fees and didn't put up a fuss, but I'm I'm not gonna, I told him over text, like, you need to find someone else to work on your bikes going forward. And so, yeah, he lost out on a lot of opportunity by just being mean to me. And it's got me thinking, I'm like, why are rich people so like combative over bills? And I'm like, do their landscapers, do their contractors, do they pull up to their house, they see that they have money, and then think that, oh, we can get one over on them? Is that the mindset? But yeah, so it's just weird. I'm like, I didn't say this to him, but I kind of want to text him. I'm like, when someone sees you as a doctor and you don't cure their problems, do you expect not to get paid? Like the hypocrisy was a bit ridiculous. I think, I don't know what it is. You know, I like to give out discounts to people who are struggling. Like I go to their house or wherever, and I can tell that they're not super well off financially, and I feel a little bad charging full price. But I also, I don't make a ton of money either, and I don't want to be known as someone who like gives discounts. So a lot of times I'll just charge the lowest amount of money as possible with the customer not knowing that that's what I'm doing. So to give people breaks. But yeah, so I don't do that with rich people, but I'm not in this industry to make a ton of money. Like if I put in half the work or the amount of work I put into this business with my logo design, my website, like all the energy I put into trying to get customers fixing bikes, if I was in it to make money, you would think they would think, oh, he's probably not in it just to make money. If he was in it to make money, he would be selling me a roof, or, you know, he would be selling insurance or like whatever. There's plenty of other things I could be selling that would have a lot higher profit margin than going to your house and fixing a few bucks. It's kind of ridiculous that I'm met with this like antagonism sometimes from the super wealthy. And it's not all of them, you know. Doctor customers, that type of professional, from my experience, most of them are like the best customers ever, and they're great, and they show up, they're at their house when they say they are, they're super, they pay attention to their calendar, they show up. I'm never like not there. They're never like not there or not answering their phone when I go to their house. So they're like really on top of things. But there's a small percentage of them, I don't know, I just think they're a little bit more removed from reality, and they treat people a little bit harshly. Like this past summer, I had another experience. I was driving up. It was only like a 10-minute drive, but he had the brake calipers on his e-bikes were bad, and he needed me to drive up there to replace the brake calipers. The manufacturer sent them back to him, some new ones, and I get there and he's not there. It's his like 12-year-old kid there giving me the bikes, and I look at the bikes. I put one of the bikes in the repair stand, and so there's brake mounts on a frame, and these e-bikes were like $800 tops, like off of Amazon, like no-name e-bikes, steel frame, and the brake mounts were in the wrong position. And I was thinking, well, maybe I could size a rotor up or put spacers, and there was no way to get the caliper to hold on to the brake pad. The brake pad on the caliper was only touching a tiny bit of the rotor, and it just wasn't safe. So if I replaced the caliper, it still wouldn't stop correctly. So it's like unrepairable bikes. So I tell the kid, I can't work on these bikes. They're not safe. The caliper getting replaced is not going to fix the problem. So then I leave, and then an hour later I get this angry phone call, and this guy's like, how much can I pay you to come up here and do it? And I'm like, it's not a pay issue. Like, I just don't feel safe doing it. And then he's like, well, I can sign a waiver. I can sign a waiver. And it's like, I don't feel comfortable doing it. And then in my head, I didn't say this to him, but like, I go ride my bikes around the city, and I've seen his kids on these bikes. They're going like 30 miles an hour, and I can't live with myself if I'm helping contribute to them like wrecking and breaking their bones and killing themselves, you know, with these crazy e-bikes that aren't safe. And he just kind of snaps at me. He's like, you know, I'm really frustrated with this. And I tell him, you know, I'm frustrated too. I drove out to your house. I worked on your bikes for like 10 minutes. And then I figure I can't work on it. And then I have to drive home. I just spent an hour of my time and I'm not making any money. So I'm frustrated too. And then he's like, okay, well then I guess we'll have to find something else out then. And yeah, so I have a lot of experiences like that. Maybe I'm being a negative person complaining about them, but you know, I've never had a person who's middle class or struggling. I've never had someone like that try to stiff me on bills. But I have had that happen with rich people trying to stiff me, and I've had a few in the past years. One time, 4 years ago, I was at a job, and the guy wasn't there. It was a brand new house, really nice house, and I'm working on his bike. He opened the garage for me, and then this guy in a pickup pulls up, and he's like, "Is so-and-so here?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just working on their bikes." He's like, "Okay, well, tell him that Gary," I forgot his real name. "Tell him that Gary needs to get paid, his landscaper." And I'm like, "What?" And then I just thought, I was like, okay, this guy's not going to pay me then, because Gary's not getting paid. And yeah, so then I sent him a Venmo request. I was doing Venmo back then, and he never paid it. And I never bugged him because I was like, well, he doesn't pay his bills. And then this last spring, I get a job, and I don't memorize everyone's address, but when I pulled up to the house, it was his house. And I see his wife in the window, and they're looking at me, and I just drove off because I was like, I'm not going to work on this guy's bikes again. And they called me. They're like, did you miss the house? You drove off? And I just awkwardly explained, like, you know, I run a business, and if someone doesn't pay their bill, I don't pressure them, but I'm not going to work again if I haven't gotten paid for the last time I did it. So they said they were sorry or whatever, and they paid me, and I agreed to do the work again. I went back over there. But it's just, I have some stories. There's some people in multi-million-dollar homes over, it's called the Ogden Valley. The CEO, or the old CEO founder of Netflix, bought the ski resort up there, and there's a lot of crazy money moving in that area, and they call me out, and I kind of just dread going over there. I have a few great customers that are from the area that live up there still, but when I get a new customer and I see it's from that area, I just kind of get a little deflated. And it's tricky because they're the people that can pay for bike repair, and I'm on the internet complaining about them. But, you know, if you're well off, if you're in that, you know, over $200,000 a year income range, the way you treat people, I mean, it affects us. We're not just punching bags. Like, I have feelings. Like, I have so much feelings that I'm like, I'd rather just stay home than make money off of you if you're going to be mean to me. That's my mentality. But yeah, rich people, I don't know. I wouldn't be in business without them, but I also wouldn't have as much hurt feelings. So that's it for today.